Hey gang, I want to talk a little bit about worship. We talk about worship a lot, and when we think about worship, what comes to mind? I think for a lot of us, it might be music. It might be a service that happens on the weekend. It might involve raising our hands, tears on our cheeks, eyes closed, swaying. It might involve singing lyrics that glorify God for who He is and allow us to offer our lives to Him. And all of that is true. But it's missing something. It's actually taking this huge thing that is worship and it's reducing it down to something that's little bitty, small worship. We know that there's more to it, but what exactly? I've been haunted by this verse in John where Jesus looks at His disciples and says, "If you love me, keep my commands." And we know this is true because if you're a parent, you see it in action. I mean, check out this guy. He is not having a good day. He's struggling. He does not want to obey his daddy. If you love me, keep my commands. We also see an example in the Old Testament, King Saul, right? He wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to offer sacrifices. He didn't want to obey God. And then he thought, well, if I just offer sacrifices or do these things, it'll cover it over and it'll be fine. The prophet Samuel shows up and he points to King Saul and he says, "Does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as obeying the Lord?" Obviously the answer is no. And so for us, it needs to be, yes, loving God, but also obeying what He says. John doesn't just give us the words of Jesus in his epistle, 1 John. He says this to the church, and that means it's to us, right? He says, "By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and obey His commandments." Yes, and. He continues, "For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not burdensome." So when we talk about worship, it's not just music. It's remembering that this is the love of God, that we love God and obey His commands. That's what worship is.